Jonathan Lamb has once again stepped into the center of one of the most painful and closely watched controversies in Christian broadcasting. And this time his message leaves very little room for misunderstanding. For months, many observers have questioned whether the fractured Lamb family would ever find reconciliation. Some critics insisted Jonathan was the obstacle, portraying him as unwilling to forgive, unwilling to restore relationships, and unwilling to move forward. Others believed he had simply become consumed by bitterness after his departure from Daystar television network. His latest statement challenges that narrative directly. Rather than closing the door on reconciliation, Jonathan makes it clear that peace remains something he genuinely desires. He says he is open to forgiveness, open to healing, and open to rebuilding broken relationships. But he also establishes a boundary that he refuses to cross. In his view, reconciliation cannot come at the cost of truth. That distinction changes everything. Throughout the history of public ministry, many organizations have struggled to balance forgiveness with accountability. When scandals emerge, leaders often encourage everyone involved to move forward quickly, emphasizing grace, unity, and restoration. While those principles are undeniably biblical, Jonathan argues that they cannot be used as substitutes for honesty or justice. According to him, forgiving someone does not require pretending something never happened. Healing does not require denying what one believes to be true. Peace cannot be built on a foundation of falsehood. His statement suggests that attempts have been made to frame reconciliation in a way that would require him to back away from previous claims or alter his position. He refuses to do so. He insists that he will not make statements that he believes are untrue simply to restore family harmony or repair public perception. That position reflects a broader conflict that has defined this dispute from the beginning. What initially appeared to many viewers as a disagreement over leadership succession following the death of Marcus Lamb has evolved into something far more serious. The conversation has expanded beyond boardroom decisions and executive authority into deeply personal issues involving trust, family loyalty, allegations of misconduct, and the protection of a child. For Jonathan, those issues cannot be separated. One of the strongest themes throughout his update is his role as a father. He reminds everyone watching that before he is recognized as a television personality or ministry leader, he is responsible for protecting his family. That priority has remained consistent since this controversy first became public. He reiterates that his child has been heard, supported, and protected. In doing so, he shifts the focus away from corporate interests and back toward what he believes matters most. Financial assets, television programming, family inheritance, and public reputation all become secondary when compared to the safety and well-being of a child. This perspective explains why Jonathan appears willing to sacrifice so much. From the outside, many have questioned why someone would walk away from a powerful position within one of the world's largest Christian television networks. Others have wondered why reconciliation has seemed so difficult to achieve. Jonathan's answer is simple. There are some things that cannot be negotiated. If protecting his family means losing influence, so be it. If telling the truth costs him opportunities within Christian broadcasting, he appears prepared to accept that consequence. If standing by his convictions results in permanent separation from family members or ministry leadership, he believes that is a price worth paying. Perhaps the most striking part of his statement involves his comments regarding potential criminal conduct. Rather than suggesting these matters should remain private family issues, Jonathan argues that allegations involving possible criminal behavior belong before the proper legal authorities. In his view, these are not matters that should be settled through confidential negotiations, private agreements, or carefully crafted public relations strategies. That represents a significant challenge to how many institutions have traditionally handled internal crises. Organizations facing serious allegations often seek private resolutions. Confidential settlements, non-disclosure agreements, internal investigations, and mediation can sometimes become the preferred path because they minimize public damage while preserving institutional stability. Jonathan rejects that approach. He argues that if laws may have been broken, those issues should not remain behind closed doors. They deserve independent examination by the appropriate authorities, rather than private negotiation among interested parties. His comments suggest a clear distinction between family reconciliation and legal accountability. One concerns relationships. The other concerns justice. According to Jonathan, those two processes should never be confused. This distinction also reshapes the conversation surrounding forgiveness itself. Within many church communities, forgiveness is frequently misunderstood as requiring immediate restoration of trust or the removal of all consequences. Victims are sometimes encouraged to forgive quickly, move on, and avoid revisiting painful experiences. Jonathan presents a different perspective. Forgiveness, he suggests, releases personal bitterness without eliminating accountability. Someone can forgive another person while still believing they should answer for their actions. Extending grace does not require abandoning wisdom or ignoring legal responsibilities. In many ways, this represents one of the central themes emerging from his entire public journey. Truth and love are not enemies. Justice and mercy can exist together. Compassion does not require silence. His update also acknowledges something often overlooked amid the headlines. Everyone involved has experienced profound loss. Jonathan lost his father, Marcus Lamb, whose leadership shaped Daystar into one of the most influential Christian broadcasting organizations in the world. Since then, relationships within the family have deteriorated dramatically. Public accusations, legal disputes, internal disagreements, and deeply personal conflicts have unfolded before a global audience. He recognizes that pain exists on every side. His statement does not portray himself as the only individual who has suffered. Instead, he acknowledges that hurt feelings, grief, disappointment, and broken relationships affect the entire family. Yet recognizing another person's pain does not require abandoning one's convictions. Jonathan insists those convictions remain unchanged. He repeatedly returns to one essential principle. Truth must come first. Without truth, reconciliation becomes little more than appearance. Without honesty, peace becomes temporary rather than genuine. Without accountability, restoration lacks integrity. This philosophy explains why he believes reconciliation remains possible while simultaneously refusing to compromise. The door, as he presents it, has not been closed. But neither will it be opened under false pretenses. Those seeking restored relationships, according to Jonathan, must come with transparency rather than denial, honesty rather than image management, and accountability rather than corporate protection. That message has resonated strongly among many Daystar viewers. Supporters see a man who has remained consistent despite extraordinary personal cost. They view someone who has chosen principle over position and family protection over institutional loyalty. Whether everyone agrees with his conclusions or not, few can deny the firmness with which he has maintained them. Others continue to defend Daystar leadership, arguing that complex family conflicts often involve multiple perspectives and that outsiders rarely possess every relevant fact. They caution against reaching conclusions before all evidence has been fully examined. The public remains divided. But Jonathan's latest statement leaves little ambiguity regarding his own position. He is not seeking revenge. He is not rejecting forgiveness. He is not refusing reconciliation. Instead, he insists that forgiveness cannot become a substitute for accountability, reconciliation cannot require dishonesty, and family peace cannot come at the expense of a child's protection or the pursuit of truth. Those principles now define the next stage of this ongoing dispute. The attention inevitably shifts back toward the leadership of Daystar and other members of the Lamb family. Jonathan has publicly outlined what he believes reconciliation requires. Whether those conditions can ever be met remains uncertain. What is clear is that this controversy has moved far beyond questions about executive leadership or television programming. It has become a broader conversation about integrity, accountability, forgiveness, and the difficult balance between protecting institutions and protecting people. For Jonathan Lamb, that balance has already been decided. He believes truth is not negotiable. He believes accountability is an expression of justice rather than hostility. He believes forgiveness should never be confused with silence. And above all else, He believes that a father's first responsibility is to stand between his child and anything that threatens their safety, regardless of the personal cost. As this chapter continues to unfold, those convictions remain at the center of the story. Whether they ultimately lead to reconciliation or further division is something only time will reveal. But Jonathan has made one thing unmistakably clear: if reconciliation ever comes, it must be built on honesty, accountability, and a commitment to truth that cannot be compromised.